of energy all of you are exhibiting. You know what? When Shrudeep asked me to speak, I had made a deck of about 87 slides. Unfortunately, that pen drive is not reading, so I'm not going to bore you for the next 40 minutes with those 80 slides. But what I thought I'll really share with you is in terms of some perspective, because if I tell you I've been in the tech industry for the last 42 years, many of you will think how old I am. But the fact is that in my current role in terms of helping new companies build, I'm getting a little bit of my youth back. So one, I'm able to see in terms of where we have come to where we are and really what the opportunity ahead is. Before that, I'd just like to make one observation. I've read an article by one of the, what I think, outstanding thinkers in the modern sort of business, a person called Shivantra Ghoshal. He wrote an article called The Smell of a Place. What essentially he said by it is when you go to an office or a place, the vibrancy around it really in a way reflects the culture and what that company is poised to do. I must be very honest, I was thrilled in terms of the vibrancy of this office and the positive optimism, and it reflects a lot in terms of the values which you are trying to drive. Values in terms of agility, excellence, respect, and how you really collaborate to build things, and also delivering something which is meaningful for the society. I think the office really reflects a lot of those values, and I must like to compliment all of you for putting this together, because at the end of the day, I think it's very important to collectively aspire. And many times at Mindtree I used to mention that for individuals, aspiration is very important, and for companies and teams, it's also important to aspire, because only when you aspire, you really start achieving things. Only when you have stretch goals and set them, you really start achieving something more. Having said that, I think one of the big exciting things today is that if you look at companies, I think you serve a lot of companies, what has changed? When I got into the tech industry, companies used to run their applications based on mainframe. It was more a very supportive function. Technology, the whole role of a CIO was really a backroom function. But in today's organizations, technology is the core of everything. So many times boards and companies are talking about saying, how do we use technology as a way to not only survive but also thrive as a business? So the big difference which has happened maybe in the last 10 years, 15 years is that technology is becoming the very core. When I entered the industry, we used to think in terms of saying companies will invest 1% of their revenues on technology, and that's a piece of what we can aspire for. But today, there are companies just saying, we have no restrictions in terms of spend, we want to win using technology. So all of you are very fortunate enough to be entering the work stream at a time when technology is becoming the core of any company to survive. But many times I think as youngsters, I see a lot of people who have come in from campuses into Agilitz for the first time. So somebody outside might have told you, you know what, fine, you have entered the tech industry, but then you must be in products but not in services, because product is everything. But let me tell you, the IT services business of which I was a part of for almost my entire career, when we started, maybe in the late 80s, everybody said, what is it? No, you can't build software from India. After all, we're a company or a country of snake charmers, and how can you write software? From there, we have come a long way. Today, the industry is about $300 billion, but that has come in the last 35 years. But today, if you look at data, I think there was a recent report by the Silicon Valley Bank which said, in terms of specialized areas, Indian capability and capacity is probably the second best, both in terms of capacity as well as the depth of technology we have. So we are very much in a very unique position. And with new areas like what you're specializing on, be it Microsoft Dynamics or AI-driven implementations in enterprises, I think there's only going to be tremendous level of opportunities. And I think it's a great time to be in the services business because every enterprise cannot manage technology on their own. They will need the support and help of specialized organizations like you. And I in fact tell many people that if for the Indian IT industry building the 300 billion took 35 years to do, the next 300 billion is going to happen in the next 10 years, and probably in the next 15 years this industry will be a $1 trillion industry. Today it's about 8, 10 or 9.5% of Indian GDP, if you could call it. It will at least become 15 to 20%. So you are all fortunate enough to be a part of an industry which is really going to make India the superpower. And services is a great opportunity to be in because customers want players like Agilitz to help them. So what are customers looking for? I think there's a time when customers really look to Indian IT services companies to provide manpower, but today they want specialization, which is why I think your focus in terms of Microsoft technologies or in specific dynamics is a great opportunity because you then tend to become specialists in it and customers would want that specialization. Now, so there could be many times you could be reading saying, oh, even in this area of specialization, only the larger players will survive. To me, that's really a misnomer because at Mindtree, many times people have asked us the question saying, oh, you're much smaller than an Infosys or Wipro, how are you going to survive? But I think over a period of time, we demonstrated that we not only survived, we thrived. And our returns to shareholders was probably 5-6 times better than Wipro, Infosys and TCS together. Again, there's a research report, I'm purely quoting what are research reports. In 2018, when somebody published a report in terms of companies which delivered best value to their stakeholders over a 10-year period between 2008 and 2018, Mindtree was the third best, and we were only a mid-sized player. At that time, we were less than $1 billion in terms of revenue. So, I think there's an opportunity for a diverse set of companies because customers requiring specialization, customers require agility of companies to be responsive to their needs, which is where I think a company like Agilitz can really work as collaborative partners with customers, deliver value to them, and consequently grow your business also. So to that extent, if somebody comes and tells you saying that, hey, this market is only for large players, so don't work for a smaller company, work for the Infosys or Wipro or something. Let me tell you, you don't want to be an ant in an anthill. Those are large organizations having lakhs of employees and you'll be an ant in an anthill. Be somebody who's specialized, be somebody who can make an impact on the organization, and be somebody who's thinking customer backwards, because at the end of the day, this business is all about how are you delivering value to your customers. Always have a learning mindset. Be very conscious about in terms of what is the values you demonstrate. Being agile first, being collaborative, respecting both the customer needs and your internal organizations. I'm sure you can be very successful as a professional. The company will also become, in terms of your vision of being amongst the top 10 players in the markets in which you play with, and there is a huge opportunity around. So the time is now for you to be successful, for you to make Agilitz a successful organization, and I think this facility will really pave the way for all of you to be successful. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I wish you all a great stint here, and personally for all of you to grow as good professionals, as good individuals. I think that's really the key. Thank you.